Hi there, I'm Timmy. This is TimmyWA and what have you. I'd like to welcome my special guest, the beautiful Rachel. Hi.
Hi.
Thanks for joining me.
You're welcome.
She makes these videos so much better. So grateful for her. And she has all this lovely Disneyland memories and history and background. I just love it. All right, so last week we talked about Space Mountain, and boy, did we talk about Space Mountain. Over 20 minutes of amazing content, memories, details, specifications, history, and personal feelings all about Space Mountain. And hope you felt that. I hope that you felt our love and our passion, our excitement for that amazing attraction. And today we're going to continue our journey through Tomorrowland, and we're going to go through Buzz Lightyear, and we're also going to go to the classic, and heaven help Disney not get rid of Autopia because it's been rumored and talked about so often. Before we get going, when Rachel goes over Autopia, I just want to preface that by saying this is a really simple rundown of the history of that ride. There's a lot more to it, including different tracks they had. They had multiple tracks at some points, but we're just going to go through a lot of the major historical bits, and then we're going to share some personal memories of that ride. So just keep that in mind as we go over this, that it's not a full, complete history. We could probably do a full 20, 30 minute, if we were going to get really detailed, we could do that on just Autopia, but we're not. We're going to make this real quick. So let's go. Our videos tend to get really long. So let's go on. Let's start with Buzz Lightyear. Now, Buzz Lightyear Astro Blasters, fun ride, family-friendly, kid-friendly, opened originally in March of 2005, and it was just as the whole Pixar Disney thing was just erupting, and Toy Story was just an amazing feat of animation and computer technology, and this ride was perfect to just go right along with that. It replaced, it went into a building that was mostly empty for at least 5 to 7 years, and previously the major ride or attraction that was there was a Circle Vision 360-degree theater. And you'll have to look that up. I don't know a lot about that particular attraction, but that was what was basically in that building up until probably 98, 99, I think is when that one closed. And then for a short time, the Rocket Rods, which is a short-lived ride that went on the People Mover track, which completely failed and aided the destruction of that amazing track. The Rocket Rides queue was in that building as well for just a little bit. And then in March 2005, Buzz Lightyear Astro Blasters came on the scene and opened. And it's a fun ride. And basically you're in an Omnimover. So you're in a little capsule, little rocket or ride, whatever you want to call it. And you've each got a gun, a laser light blaster that you shoot at targets that are around, and you're defeating the evil Emperor Zurg and his army as they try to take over the Earth and steal energy, which looks like AA batteries. So that's kind of cute.
Yeah.
And I'll put up on the screen all the different scoring and details because I don't want to go over all that verbally. I think that's just a lot to read. But we'll talk about the rankings and the scorings, and also what shapes and targets there are, what points those are worth. So I'll put that up on the screen here while we're talking. Basically, two riders side by side can shoot and hit all the targets, and you're gaining points. You're trying to help Buzz Lightyear defeat Zurg, as I mentioned before. This ride operates in all the parks, all the Disney parks, except for Hong Kong Disneyland, where it was going to be replaced for the new Marvel Land that's being built there right now. Typical ride length is about 4.5 minutes, so pretty chill. Because it's just an Omnimover ride where it's just constantly rolling, you get in and out on a moving platform. Expectant mothers is okay. There's no ride height restrictions. Of course, you need to transfer from a wheelchair, but they help you do that as well. There is fast and max passes available, so use that to your advantage. But there's no single riders. That just might be awkward.
Yeah.
Because you get some stranger sitting in your ride with you, and that's just weird. There is, along with all the scoring, let me go back a bit, there is a consolation prize for those of us who just shoot wildly and may not ever hit a target or very rarely hit a target. Allegedly, from what I understand...
That's not you. That's me.
I miss all the time.
No, you don't.
My accuracy is like 20% tops. What I was going to say is, so if you miss 5 shots in a row, meaning you just shoot and miss 5 times in a row, the system rewards you 100 points each time you do that.
I'm going to start doing that more often.
We'll do it. I mean, just,
might as well.
Yeah. So that's Buzz Lightyear. Now, like I said, it's a fun ride. It's really low key. It's mellow. It's indoor. It's the dark ride. Use a lot of black light effects to help tell the story. And the ride does frequently break down because of the Omnimover system isn't amazing. Like, Haunted Mansion will break down quite often. Same with
And I don't know if
Little
it's necessarily
Mermaid.
breaking down, but
It just stops.
maybe it's stopping to let
Oh, that's
wheelchairs on
possible.
and off, right? So,
Oh, yeah. I'm mean like that. I don't think like that.
yeah, think happy thoughts. It's Disneyland.
Yes. So be aware that if when the ride does stop, the game continues. So you can continue to hit those targets and keep building up your points. And I think those that allegedly have like 1 million points, that's probably what happens. They just shoot like crazy.
The high scoring points. The ones that are lit up are higher, right?
Right. If they got a circle around them, right, a highlight, yeah. So be
And
careful with
Wyatt
that.
likes to do.
What's Wyatt like?
Wyatt likes to do, because usually you and I ride it together, right? Wyatt rides it alone. He likes to use both guns that are in the car and shoot at the same time.
Double barrel action.
Yeah, and just kind of do this whole
Just
thing like that.
crazy. Yeah. And but you don't calculate your points like
No,
that.
no. He gets 2 scores.
All right, so very cool ride. Again, highly recommended. It's really chill and have fun with that. The kids love that, and it's a great story. So let's hop over from Buzz Lightyear.
Well, there's a couple more things you need to mention. There's
Please.
the picture.
Oh, right. Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Tell us about the picture.
So I'm not really positive where the picture is. I know you go
It's
under
somewhere
a
there.
doorway, and there's one thing too, and I'm so not coordinated on this ride, so I let Tim handle this.
You
There's
have
a
to drive.
little remote control.
It's like a joystick.
Yeah, and don't hold still. Like turn around
it
because
spins you.
sometimes you get better ones by turning and
Exactly.
So I let Tim handle that.
Good point.
But
Thanks for mentioning that.
you go into a doorway and then like kind of behind you there's the camera and it takes a picture of you. And then when you get off the ride, there are these computer screens and you can find your picture and you can email it to yourself. So it's pretty cool. It's a little bit different than the other pictures in the park, right?
Yeah.
Where you just go take a picture with your phone and upload it and that kind of thing. So
And
that's a little bit different.
It sends you a picture of yourself in the ride and whoever you're with, and it puts your scores on the picture too, and it emails it to you. So you type in your email address, and bam, there you go. Disney has all your information.
Yeah, it's pretty. They don't spam you.
Big Brother Walt.
Pretty well. Pretty.
No, I'm
pretty
just
much.
kidding. No,
They
Disney's
don't
great.
Really spam you. And then
Send
the other
all
thing
my
I was going
money.
to say is the fast pass for it is right across from the little kiosks. So right across from Star Tours, but they're right next to the kiosks for Star Tours. So be careful. Just keep an eye out. We have been known to kind of mix those up before Max Pass on the phone. We have been known to think we're getting one for Star Tours, and we actually got one for Buzz Lightyear, or the other way around. So just keep an eye, make sure you're getting one.
They kind of share the same little alcove inside between the entry of the ride and the entry to the store. They're right in there.
So just make sure to keep an eye out for that.
Thank you for pointing all that out. I just skip over all that important stuff. So let's move up the ways a little bit towards the Autopia, and it's not Autotopia. Don't let anybody tell you that. It's Autopia.
It makes sense to be Autotopia.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't make any sense.
It's an auto.
Let's talk about Autopia.
Autopia. Fun ride that I'm happy to ride one time when we go. But it is fun. Okay, so Autopia opened with the park in July of 1955, and it's kind of a race car action thing, but beware, it is not bumper cars. And they are very, very clear on that. Do not crash into the car in front of you. Now, it's hard to do because there's just a gas pedal. There's no brake pedal. The only way to stop is to lift your foot off the gas. And it's very herky-jerky, so it's hard, right? So they understand that it sometimes does happen, but you're not meant to crash into the car in front of you.
They don't want you doing that.
Yeah. So, There are 2 riders within, though it can fit 3 people if you have like a little one. But there's only 1 driver. Now, one of the weird things, or what I've always felt is a weird thing about Autopia, is the steering wheel can be either on the left side or the right side. So it has maybe like a British feel sometimes, depending on which line you're in. The gas pedal, though, is always right in the middle. So while the ride length is only 4.5 minutes, if you're pushing that gas pedal with your left foot, that feels like 4.5 hours. Oh, that hurts your leg. So I usually end up switching. But anyways, even the small kids can drive. Now, you have to be 32 inches to ride the ride, but you have to be 54 inches to ride it by yourself, meaning drive it with the, actually drive it with pressing the gas and everything. So I remember my very first time driving it by myself. I was finally tall enough. Other than that, I'd always ridden it with one of my older brother or sister or my parents. And I was finally big enough. And I get in and I'm pushing my legs as far as I can. And I get about halfway around the track and I realize I'm really not tall enough. Like my leg can barely stretch that far, and I'm not coordinated enough to do this steering wheel. And I kept stopping. The people behind me are crashing into me and getting upset at me, and I'm close to tears. And they've got people walking around, to make sure that you're okay, to make sure that you're not crashing into the people in front of you. And finally, this brave young man saves the day, and he climbs in the car with me and presses the cast member and presses the gas pedal for me the whole rest of the way. And so I was able to just do along my merry way the whole rest of the time. And then the whole rest of the trip I rode with my brother or sister or my parents.
Yep.
So
I think that's the whole dream, the whole vision Walt Disney had with Autopia, was letting even the little kids drive. And I think that's, to me, when I was a kid, that's all I wanted to do. Like, you could play video games. I think I had a neighbor that had a riding lawnmower, and I always thought it was the best thing. Like, I always thought that would be the coolest thing, to be able to drive. And you go to Disneyland, and you could be like, 5, 6, 7 years old and drive a car all by yourself. Yeah. That's amazing. And that was Walt's whole vision. And I think the thing that's kind of cool that I wanted to point out is in 1955, when Disneyland was being built and when it opened, there wasn't a national interstate highway system yet. It wasn't. I think there might have been a bill or something on Eisenhower's desk, but it hadn't been a thing yet. And so, of course, there were highways, but there wasn't like an interstate system. And so Walt was really like visioning the future of family and personal transportation, because they're just with Autopia, because there just wasn't a system in the country like that yet. And the man was amazing. He was just he was brilliant. And so what a vision.
So let me tell you what there also wasn't. On Autopia, when it first opened, there also wasn't that rail.
The guide rail down the middle?
Guide rail down the middle. And so, I can't even imagine what that was like.
Yeah.
Because now, as you're driving, if you kind of veer to the right, it jerks you back, and I mean jerks. It jerks you back, and you essentially could let go of the steering wheel and just press the gas, and it would drive you.
It would be gross.
It ping-pongs you, and it's not comfortable. But you could do it. I can't even imagine what it was like without that guide rail.
Those didn't come in until 1965.
1965.
That's 10 years of people wrecking those cars.
Right.
Because there's no way the people were, I
think on a path.
I think back in the 50s and 60s, people were a little more well-behaved and respectful, but not everybody.
No.
Yeah. So it took them 10 years to figure that one out. So as brilliant as Walt may have been coming with this.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So the fact that even small kids can drive is so fun. This last time we went to Disneyland, we went with my sister and her 2 kids. And my 4-year-old, I got to drive with my 4-year-old. He drove, I pressed the gas, and it was the funnest ride I've ever been on. It was so ping-pongy, back and forth, and I was dying laughing. Because he was like, it's not listening to me. The steering wheel's not listening to me. But it was so fun. Anyways, so...
laughing all the way to the chiropractor.
Yes. Okay, so back to the ride itself. As you're driving, you drive through different scenes. And as Tim said, you'd have to look up the history. This is just a very brief history because there have been many, many, many different scenes throughout time, throughout the history of Autopia.
Different layouts, different tracks.
So right now it's because Honda is the current sponsor, there are Honda scenes. Honda's been the sponsor since 2016, and so there are Honda scenes. There's a guy in a spacesuit. There's kind of a blimp. What else is there?
There's a bird named Bird.
Yeah.
he's actually the main star of the attraction, and he talks, and you hear him talk, and he gets into a lot of trouble. Some of the scenes are him crashing his plane into a tree, and so you see him in the tree, and the propeller's still spinning, and he's kind of half hanging out. He's a bird. He's flying a plane.
He's flying a plane. So look for those as you're driving along the path. Look for those kind of off to the side. Also look, as we have pointed out before, watch the train go around and wave to the people on the train. Watch the monorail and wave to the people on the monorail, even though you can't see them because the glass is tinted. You won't be able to see them. But that's okay. You can still wave to them, and they think
They'll
you're
feel
waving
it.
back.
They'll feel it
will.
right here.
In 1960, in the year 2000, the track and vehicles were replaced with a different sponsor, and that was Chevron. And then, as I mentioned, in 2016, it was replaced with Honda.
Right.
What was the other thing I wanted to mention? So I mentioned you have to be 32 inches to ride it, 54 to ride it by yourself.
Yep.
While you can't ride it obviously in your wheelchair, you can get up to it with your transfer with your wheelchair. So there are elevators and ramps that you can get down to it with your wheelchair and then transfer in. So, but no expectant mothers, obviously, because it's very ping-pongy, and as we said before, even though you're not supposed to crash into the car in front of you, everyone still does.
It happens.
Not a lot. I mean, hopefully they're not doing it on purpose, but some of the cars are slow. They're gas vehicles, they are gas vehicles. Some of them are slower than others. They're stinky, gross vehicles. But some of them, like, you could be flooring it the entire time, and they just don't go very fast.
Along,
So I think there's been a rumor, like total rumor, that Tesla wants to sponsor and change them all over to electric vehicles.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
That would be totally awesome.
You'd lose some of the classicness of it, because some of it is the sounds and the smells.
That's true.
Like, some of that's part of the heart of Autopia,
Yeah.
because I mean, it's not, at this point, it's not a futuristic ride. But I think if Tesla were to take over and convert everything to electric, first of all, you're going to be a lot more environmentally sound. But it's also going to be more futuristic, which is Tomorrowland.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Again, complete rumor. Don't quote us on any of that. And I've even heard that might have been completely dispelled at this point. But I feel like it's worth mentioning, because you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah. And then no Fast Pass or Max Pass yet. I don't know if they'll ever bring that in. And then, of course, no single rider. You're sitting, again, that'd be very weird. You're sitting very intimate with them. You're sharing the same seatbelt. Yeah. So that'd be kind of weird. And then the average wait time is 20 to 30 minutes. I've seen it longer. We've seen it shorter. Just kind of depends on the day, how crowded the park is. So
and
that's Autopia.
And they do close it for weather, because it's an outdoor ride. Yeah. So I mean, if it gets rainy and yucky, they'll close it. If there's lightning, and so. Yeah. Also, this ride we didn't mention is also at Disney World. It's called the Tomorrowland Speedway, but very similar, very very same approach. I think right now, it's still open. I think they had to close it for a bit when they were building the Neutron roller coaster, but I think right now it's open, so I think we're okay with that. Cool. So that's Autopia, and that's Buzz Lightyear, and thank you for watching. Our next video, we've got a few more things to cover before we leave Tomorrowland. That includes Finding Nemo's Submarine Adventure. We're going to look at the monorail. That'll be fun. And even though that's not a ride or attraction per se, it is pretty cool, and it's very historic.
And you get on it in Tomorrowland, so we'll cover that.
There's definitely a stop there. And then we'll also look at Star Wars Launch Bay, because that ride, that building has some history. And Carousel of Progress, I think, is the old attraction that used to be there. And we'll get into that a little bit. That's kind of cool. So look forward to our future videos on Mondays, and we'll see you next Monday with another video. I don't have a video planned yet for this Friday. If it happens, I'll let you know. Probably not. We're also getting ready still for our trip to Disney World. That'll blow our minds, and I don't want to keep talking about it because it's the same stuff, but we're excited. I mean, bottom line, it's going to be amazing. So we'll share a lot of that with you while we're at the park. We'll also have a lot of video footage that we'll throw together and share with you after we return. So look forward to that. But in the meantime, if nothing else, we'll see you guys next Monday with our next video where we go over the submarines and some of those other attractions in Tomorrowland. And we'll see you then. So please like, comment, subscribe, and share this video. Share my channel. I did want to mention that down below, if you scroll through my channel, I added a couple of playlists with some of our favorite other Disneyland and automotive vloggers, so you'll see those down below in some of the playlists. And I just wanted to share some of the folks that really inspired me to even start a YouTube channel. So that's definitely worthwhile to look into. So thanks for that, and we will see you guys next Monday. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.